Well, good afternoon, and I want to welcome everybody to the groundbreaking for our Georgetown wet weather facility. My name is Christy True. I'm the director of King County's Department of Natural Resources and Parks, and really happy to have a nice, clear, sunny day to celebrate the groundbreaking for a wet weather facility. How unusual is that this time of year? So this is really great to kick this off. You know, it takes a lot of time and effort to get to the point where you're actually groundbreaking on a facility. So it's a very exciting day for us. And we have several wonderful speakers to talk with you today about this facility and what it's going to do for our region. I'm very excited and always happy to be able to introduce my boss, Dow Constantine. Worked for Dow for a little more than 8 years, and it's been very rewarding. His guidance and leadership to our department to do so many great things for the people who live and work and play here, but he's steadfast in making sure that we're working on water quality for this region and improving it every day. And he's also provided a lot of guidance and support for us to really engage the community that we have our facilities, engage them in a very meaningful way to participate in the decision process. And of course, many more will come here to help us build it in the next few years. So with that, I'd like to welcome Executive Dow Constantine.
Thank you, Christy. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Georgetown. We gather today on the traditional lands of the Duwamish people, and indeed a short distance from the Duwamish River, which has been important to the vitality of our region since time immemorial. It's a river that I have had the privilege of living around my entire life. We've done much over the past 4 decades with our partners to seek to restore the damage that has been done to that river, which paid a heavy toll as America geared up to help win World War II and became the industrial heartland of our entire region. To succeed in that restoration work, we must work at a watershed scale to prevent future pollution. And that's exactly what we are here to start today. Today we break ground on a major King County infrastructure project that will protect the Duwamish River from stormwater pollution for the next century. The Georgetown Wet Weather Treatment Station will treat up to 70 million gallons of polluted stormwater runoff that can flow into the Duwamish during severe rainstorms. It is the first of 8 projects that will complete King County's 40-year work to control the combined sewer overflow, a key part of the work we're doing to protect Puget Sound, to restore salmon habitat, and to meet our obligation to honor sacred treaty rights. I'm honored to be joined today by Bardo Lewis, the Vice Chair of the Suquamish Tribe, who will be speaking with us in a few moments. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. Vice Chair. You're not on yet. Okay. I'm just introducing you. We started this project by listening to the people who live in the Duwamish Valley, who have shouldered some of the greatest pollution and health burdens in King County. They told us we needed to act now. Act now so that we could prevent harm to people in the future. The initial 10-year timeline would simply result in more pollution. They wanted it to reflect the character of the community, reinforcing the work neighbors have done to make the Duwamish Valley healthier and make it more resilient. Rather than having a major infrastructure project simply dropped into the neighborhood, they wanted to incorporate it into the fabric of the community, making it a community asset, making it a point of pride. And they wanted to contribute to the work, using their own skills to help build one of the biggest public projects in the history of Georgetown. That community input helped shape the plan for this project. We expedited the timeline so that it will be completed 5 years from now, much sooner than originally planned. We're making the design and operation sustainable, adding a green roof and cisterns to filter and collect stormwater. We'll plant tree canopy to improve air quality in the neighborhood, which has some of the highest asthma rates in Seattle. And we included the project in King County's pilot program, Priority Hire, requiring contractors to recruit workers from zip codes with higher levels of poverty and unemployment to make it possible for more people who live in the community to earn a living wage. Our careful and thorough design plan will also save millions of dollars. EPA selected it as one of 8 projects nationwide to qualify for lowest interest federal loans, which will cover nearly half the construction costs and potentially save taxpayers up to $34 million. The EPA Region 10 Administrator, Chris Lattic, is here with us today. Thank you for joining us, Chris. We appreciate it so much. Welcome to Georgetown. I want to thank the staff. I want to thank the volunteers. I want to thank the partners who built a strong foundation for this project. Your work will contribute to the health and prosperity of our valley for generations, accelerating our work to restore the Duwamish River to its natural state. I'm very honored to be here, and I'm so looking forward to the ribbon cutting when we open this wonderful plant. Christy, thank you so much.
Get a little brief introduction to Bardo Lewis, but I wanted to tell you a little bit more about the vice chair of the Suquamish Tribe. He was first elected vice chair in 2016, but he was on the Suquamish Tribal Council for many years prior to that. He's a dedicated public servant his whole life, and he's also been a lifelong fisherman. He works very hard to protect the Suquamish culture, sovereignty, and treaty rights. And he also works very hard to ensure that the tribe itself develops in a sustainable way. Please welcome Vice Chairman Lewis.
How many people know where Suquamish is? It's in the Agate Pass off of Bainbridge Island between Paul's Bow. It's where Chief Seattle's buried, signer of the Point Elliott Treaty. Jacob Waholchu, my grandfather's grandfather, signer of a Point Elliott Treaty. He lived to be 112 years old, and he was the last one to be in the 600-foot longhouse, the biggest one all around that was on Agate Pass at one time. The tribes and salmon go one and one because we care about it here and we care about it in our hearts. I could bring a bunch of statistics or read a bunch of data, but we put millions of dollars in sustaining, protecting, enhancing places for Mother Earth. And the salmon were the first comers, and they are part of Mother Earth. They go up this river. I've raised 2 stepsons and 3 daughters on this river, and they all admire Elliott Bay. It's almost like a church if you put it in context of raising your kids there, hard times, etc. And there used to be a lot of fish there, and now there's not so many, and it's for many different reasons, and I know you all care, and that's why you're here. And I just want to say that getting to know Dow Constantine, the things that all of his people are doing, the efforts that all of you put in, that you should all give yourself a big hand. And I really appreciate it. My tribe appreciates it. I've got long stories, but I've only got 3 minutes. And the guy back here is probably looking at his watch. Long time ago, people didn't care as much like we care now. All of us. I'm talking about all of us here and all of the people. And we've got to realize that, Welcome to springtime. It's beautiful out here. But we're in a crisis when it comes to a lot of the environment. And people do a lot of little steps for it. And I've got to say that this big step here for this river is monumental. Duwamish in the old language basically means place or river of many colors. When you get up to the White River, it has a different name, etc. The river had many different colors, and that's where Duwamish come from. It's kind of a shame that a lot of pollution, ironically, made it different colors, but I've seen a lot of improvements in my lifetime, and I'd like to see a lot more fish in our grandchildren's lifetime, all of our grandchildren's lifetime. It would almost seem that we dream of a better tomorrow, but with steps like this and all of that pride and caring I see from you people, that we're going to find a better tomorrow for the salmon, for the trees, for the eagles, for the falcons, and for our grandchildren to enjoy what we're putting back together. And thank you very much for having me today.
You can see he's much taller than me. I'm very excited to be able to introduce Liliana Alala today. She is here representing U.S. Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal. And I have had the privilege of starting to work just recently with Liliana the last couple of years, and it's been such a pleasure. She is deeply engaged in advocating for racial equity and environmental justice. She's served as a commissioner on the Seattle Women's Justice Commission, managed outreach and inclusiveness in initiatives for the Environmental Leadership Program, and she served as a grants manager for the Nature Consortium. And just recently, she was also on our advisory committee for our land conservation initiative. So please welcome Liliana.
Thank you, Christy. Good afternoon. On behalf of Congresswoman Jayapal in our office, I would like to thank all of those who are coming together in partnership to ensure this region continues to lead on solutions that center community health, access to jobs, and a clean environment. I want to thank the county and the contractors, all of the workers, and the planners and stakeholders who have been working so hard on this project. I also want to give a special shout out to civil servants and community members who are finding incredible ways to collaborate on local hire, youth engagement, and art throughout this entire process. In the Northwest, we know that water is life. It plays a critical role in connecting us to each other and connecting us to the land. The Georgetown Wet Weather Treatment Station is a significant contribution to the ongoing work of cleaning up our Duwamish River. Moving forward, Congresswoman Jayapal wanted me to share that from the Ballard Locks to the Duwamish River and out to the Puget Sound, as vice-ranking member of the Budget Committee, she is committed to fighting for a budget that invests in infrastructure, in good jobs, and that respects the role that water and this earth play in supporting the growth and health of all of our communities. Thank you very much.
Next, I'd like to introduce our new Region 10 EPA Administrator, Chris Lattic. And we're very excited to hear that he was a local government guy coming from Alaska and had actually a lot of experience in wastewater treatment. So he's a kindred spirit and knows what it takes to get a facility like this off the ground and built. So he understands the kinds of challenges that we face in building these big facilities. So we're very excited to be able to work with our federal and local government partners. So welcome, Chris.
Thank you, Director True and Executive Constantine, Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, and King County Wastewater Treatment Team for inviting me here today. It's great to be here. I'm Chris Lattic, the new Regional Administrator for the EPA. Just started my job on December 4th, so I think I'm in my third month now, and very happy to come to a celebration such as this. And though I'm relatively new to Seattle, I'm amazed at the beauty and vitality of the region and the surrounding water, mountains. It's a very special place. As Director True stated, I was in a previous life a city manager for 25 years in Alaska, so I know the amount of work that goes into the planning of a project like this, the process, the consultants, the engineering, and of course the financing. Putting together financing for a project like this can be daunting. Last year, we selected King County to apply for EPA's Water Infrastructure Finance and Innovation Loan Program. Our program aims to accelerate investment in our nation's water infrastructure with low-cost financing for regionally and nationally significant projects such as these. King County's Georgetown Wet Weather Treatment Station is a regionally important project designed to improve water quality in the Duwamish by reducing stormwater and sewage pollution by 95% with sustainable and green infrastructure and, of course, community benefits. EPA's loan processing is now in its final stages, and we anticipate awarding up to $135 million in low-interest loans to finance nearly half of the project cost and saving taxpayers, ratepayers, millions of dollars. King County's Wastewater Treatment Division project team has done an impressive work here. They have engaged with the community, businesses, tribal governments, and other stakeholders each step of the way, and it shows. Restoring and protecting the Duwamish River and Puget Sound are among EPA's top priorities in the Pacific Northwest. For the tribes, the Duwamish and Puget Sound are a vital link to their culture, history, and traditions. Protecting these resources is a key part of our tribal trust responsibility. Just as to the west of it here is the Lower Duwamish Waterway, an active EPA Superfund site addressing a century of industrial pollution. King County, as well as the City of Seattle, the Port of Seattle, and the Boeing Company are making good progress in the ongoing cleanup effort. An impressive amount of work removing contaminants has been done already to date. While much work remains, the progress is encouraging for everyone interested in the health of the river and the communities that rely upon it. Pollution prevention is a critical part of our Duwamish Superfund work, and in that vein, we're working with a critical partner, the Washington Department of Ecology, to control upland sources of pollution to the river, to protect our long-term cleanup investments. King County's new wet weather treatment station will help to further reduce pollution going into the river and will help safeguard our environment in this decades-long work to clean up the Duwamish and restore Puget Sound. Today we celebrate more than a groundbreaking. We celebrate our local, state, tribal, community, and business partners working together to protect this beautiful place and the resources we all depend upon. As we look forward to the work that lies ahead, this is a great step in our collaborative efforts to restore Seattle's only river and protect Puget Sound. Thanks to everyone at the King County Wastewater Treatment Division for your hard work, and thank you for inviting me here today.
I have to bring it back down. Thank you so much. And thank you for the $134 million loan. Did you bring your checkbook today?
No.
Okay, next time. Okay. I'd like to introduce our last speaker, Vicki Harding. We were so fortunate to have Vicki join our design advisory group for this project. Vicki is an instructor for South Seattle Community College Sustainable Building Science Technology program. They prepare students for careers in the green collar sector. So we were really fortunate to have her experience and her time to be able to work on the design of the project. So please welcome Vicki.
Thank you, and welcome very much to Georgetown. Thank you, Christine, and thanks for the opportunity to share the experience of serving on the Community Design Advisory Group for this very important project. First, I would like you to know that I bring greetings from South Seattle College's Georgetown campus, just over that way. Woo! And our Executive Dean, Holly Moore, who's the one who asked me to volunteer to be on the Design Advisory Group. Joining the DAG had two very direct benefits for me personally. It gave me first-hand experience to share with our students in the Sustainable Building Science Technology program about the process of involving the community in a very large infrastructure project. And second, the time to get to know Georgetown leaders and volunteers who are committed to making this slice of Seattle economically stable and vital. I must confess that in a past life, as the CEO and president of cultural and educational facilities in San Francisco, Boston, and Detroit, I have been a participant in community advisory teams, and none were as successful as the wet weather station DAG process. The technical team brought us materials to review, listened thoughtfully as we shared our opinions, and most surprising to some, those opinions led to changes and a better project for Georgetown. When I think of the process of bringing this station online, I am reminded of the guidelines for civil discourse that every New England municipality uses to manage those large town meetings of hundreds of individuals making all kinds of critical decisions. First, you recognize a person's right to advocate ideas that are different from your own. Thomas Mann told us that democracy is a means of living together despite our differences. It is predicated on the assumption that it's possible to disagree agreeably, even in this day and age. And that parties to a debate are entitled to the presumption that their views are legitimate, if not correct, at least legitimate. So the rules for successful meetings are show respect for others, speak as you would like to be spoken to, and agree to listen. The technical team leading this process could have written those guidelines, which, by the way, were written by Henry David Thoreau. That's what happens in New England. It was a positive, challenging, interesting, and productive environment, and everyone felt valued. What more could we ask? And now I would like to recognize the names and the members of the Design Advisory Group. If you are here, please acknowledge, stand, or wave your hand. James Rasmussen from the Duwamish River Cleanup Coalition. Alan Phillips from Georgetown Community Council and a local business owner. Erica Melroy from Recology. Carrie Simpson from Urban Systems Ecology, and I think Carrie's around. Angelina Chamberlain from the Georgetown Arts and Cultural Center. Cheryl Ehlers from the Georgetown Community Council, and Emily Shepard, who was president of the Georgetown Merchants Association. Please give a round of applause for this group of hardy volunteers. Thank you.
We're going to go off script for just 1 minute. And I'd like to ask Bardo to come back up.
Now for the long story. I'm just kidding. Bob Peterson, please come up. I just wanted to recognize Bob Peterson, who works tirelessly with the local tribes, and from very small things to guidance and just being a great person, he is. He's getting ready to retire, and I, for one's going to miss him very much. And I think he's the one that let me know about this event today, as a matter of fact. So give Bob a hand, and he's a lovely guy. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it.
It goes back and forth. So we're wrapping up. I do want to also recognize and point out our state Department of Ecology partners who are here today. Laura, Rachel, and Sean, if you stand up, raise a hand. We really appreciate you coming here today. Thank you. We had a lot of work behind us and a lot of work ahead of us, don't we? I'd also just want to say again thank you to all of you for coming today. I recognize so many of you, your faces, for the hard work that you have put in, and I know you're going to continue to follow this project and be here for the ribbon cutting. That will also, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's going to be a beautiful day when we do that 5 years from now. So we're ready to break ground.